operator. You might learn after taking a bunch of stats and watching that, you might be able to start a little bit earlier in the morning or extend the day later on. And this all leads to experience for your guests or your members, and you can always do better. It doesn't matter what golf course I think you're at. I think the applications apply to everybody.
Steve, we chatted earlier, and without me prompting you, you told us how you managed to get Tagmarshal into budget, which even at Valhalla is it's not an easy thing. Ask for money, it's tough.
Yeah, you know, so we're talking around, so I get calls from people, I'm sure you do, just about the system and using it. And I think, again, it's a big asset for, you know, basically almost a person, right? So figuring out how am I going to ask for this money every month, that, you know, reality is every year we find more and more uses for it. And, you know, our food and beverage team uses it, our grounds crew uses it. So, you know, I tell people all the time, especially people that I know in the business or whoever it is, when they're asking for it, it's, you know, divide it up. So golf department will take X percentage. Food and beverage is going to use it because they got to deliver drinks. They got to know who's coming off the golf course. They've got to know who's coming into the turnhouse. The grounds team's going to know where groups are in the morning, where can we work, you know, how fast is groups, how much time do we have until they get here. So a lot of different departments are going to use this. Our valet group uses it, you know, when they're getting close to being done, and to make sure that we're one step ahead. So we don't like chasing by any means for anything at the club. So if we can stay one step ahead, whether it's pace or service or just knowing where somebody is, it's huge for us.
How many of you have like VIPs that might play the golf course once in a while, or somebody very, you know, very important like a member, or yeah, exactly. To know exactly where those folks are on the golf course from your office while you're doing other things is time management. Time is money, right? I mean, I can be working at my desk, glance at a screen, and know if I have an owner who's out on the golf course that I'm obviously going to be paying attention to where he's at and how pace is in front of him. He's a fast player. I can see on the screen how's he doing. And if it's looking like it's not going so well, I can radio the Rangers from my office while I'm doing something else. Saves you time. A lot of time it saves.
Tom, shall we run some questions with the crowd? So if you have any questions to Jim, Steve, myself, we're all friends, shout ahead.
First question. Hold on, let me give you this, that's the way everybody can hear you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm a PGA director of golf at Dreamland Golf Club with the AMG at Azerbaijan, Baku. So it's next to Turkey, when a lot of people actually fly in to play from CIS countries, UK, direct flights from everywhere. New destination to try out. And what we face with the full year-round season, a lot of people like from Dubai and from UK, they like to walk. And even though all our buggies have a GPS and everything, we hit the situation when actually 4 people walking perfectly 4 hours. But the guys behind them really always complain, even if they play 3:45 with the buggies. Do you have this kind of issue? So you're going to force everyone to use the buggies only?
No, we have a fairly large caddy program. We have about 70 caddies that go out, and Saturday mornings we're 90% walking groups, and they just have these walking tags that come with a carabiner clip, and you just clip them on, so whether they have a caddy and it goes in their bed, or you just take it on the guy's bag in the morning, you're getting the same info. It's the same unit, you just got to charge it at night, and when they get done with the round, you got to make sure you grab it. So we set up some geofences that as they leave, if one gets to a certain area, ours are mostly in caddy bibs, so as it leaves, if it happens to get down to the gate, we get a text message and a message pops up on the screen that, hey, this thing's leaving property. And if it does leave property, you just call these guys and have them search it, and you find where, good or bad, where that Tagmarshal'S going. So, you know, we just have those portable units, and they're great.
We're actually walking only golf course, and so we have no buggies on the golf course. Obviously, we have a caddy program of over 100 caddies. So if I got a busy day of 150 golfers and our caddies double bag, I need 75 caddies just to get through the day. So we have a staff of over 100. So it kind of makes it easier. That way we don't have that mix. I'm sure you have an established pace of play number, so if the walkers are actually on that number or better, you can let everybody know with the system, hey, they're on pace. It kind of diffuses people who are maybe behind them, that are maybe in buggies, that are trying to go a little bit faster. The numbers don't lie, you know, unless you had like certain waves of areas where, you know, walking was in the morning and buggies were in the afternoon. It kind of sounds like there's a mix throughout the day. I mean, that's a challenge. There's no question about it. But if you have an established, I think, guideline for summer pace, and if they're on it or better, it's hard to argue with that.
So we deal with it more. You have those quick member groups that play at 9, but the groups in front of them, 8:50 and so on, they're slow. So for us, it's just the statement piece, right? Of, well, here's where they stand. They're actually 5 minutes ahead. I know you're 15 ahead, but yeah, reality is that there's nothing we're going to do because they're following the guidelines.
Any other questions?
I got one.
Got it. We get my steps in today.
Maybe something to throw in here, something that we've developed also in conjunction with Hebel Beach. Let me just jump back here. So we realize that using average round times as a metric is not really that effective. Average round times as a metric is, are we doing well in this department? It's like the average temperature. This morning was really cold, this afternoon it's really hot. So your median day to day would be great, but this morning I felt like this and this afternoon I felt like that's the same with the pace. So it balances out if you look at the averages. So what we've done really successfully is look at dynamic goal times in that same vein. Like Jim is saying, the morning rounds are a couple of minutes faster. So some of our clubs, they go 45 minutes quicker in the morning and then stagger their goal times in terms of management to a more relaxed afternoon. And if you start your morning quick, your afternoon obviously follows and you get more success throughout. So that's very effective. That's something that you can consider deploying as part of your strategies.
Good question.
Yes, good morning. My name is Seth Henrich. I'm the Director of Golf at the El Conquistador Resort in Puerto Rico. The question that I have really is, you know, looking at, I don't know what your policies are at your clubs, but as a person that doesn't necessarily follow tradition, I look at 5-person groups, 6-person groups, and looking at your product, I think that would be very helpful for me to be able to figure out which of my groups can actually do that. You know, you have your group of 8 members that you know fly and take no time to play versus your group of 2 that doesn't. And so that's, have you seen anything, or have you used any of that in your real life situation, or seen it anywhere else throughout your properties that you have it in place?
You know, we have groups that play in 5. You know, we've got guys that have been there for 20 years that play in 5, and you know, to get data to know that they can handle it's fine. I mean, we haven't had any issues with them, but I think just in general, having accurate data when you go out there, and especially, you know, you're going to invest in an iPad or whatever it is, to have accurate data that you're going to show to somebody and say, here is, you know, actually where they stand or where you stand, or it's good for us. You know, another thing for us that we deal with more than probably 5 sums or 6 sums is where you're driving the carts. So we have some areas where it's, you can't drive here and it's restricted. So for us, it's more of that issue of, okay, we've got to keep them out of this side of 2 fairway. And when they drive through, we get a notification. And some systems are going to shut down the cart. For us, we just get the notification. So instead of the pro shop getting the call saying, hey, my cart shut down, it's more, hey, we saw you drove in the spot, we asked you to keep them out, and then it's a conversation with the caddy that was in the group saying, you need to watch this, and it's more of a check and balance of, hey, while they're out there, you gotta make sure they're keeping the carts where we need to keep them. So it's, you know, it's a variety of things for us.
I was thinking that in your case at Erin Hills, that extra tee time, I'm thinking about adding that extra player into those additional groups to get the equivalent of maybe 1 or 2 more tee times per day, because my daylight doesn't change much throughout the year.
What's your normal pace of play for 4 players?
4:14.
4:14. Okay, ours is, well, you know, hovering around 4:52 right now. And I don't allow 5 sims out there. it looks kind of strange when you have 5 golfers and 3 caddies all in one group, and it looks like 2 groups in front of you, and people complain, wow, what's that, 5-some or 6-some doing in front of us? They're going to be slow, and the reality is they're probably going along just as fast as everybody else, but it's a perception and reality argument is, the perception is there's a 5-some or a 6-some in front of you, they're slow, they're holding us up. The reality is they might actually be playing faster or just as fast as another group, but you could certainly experiment with it and keep your stats. I mean, that's an interesting way to add some additional revenue if you do allow 5s. You just have to set the expectations, I think, with everybody so they know, so there's no surprises to other groups that if there's a 5-some in front of you, they allow it, so it's okay. They wouldn't be surprised. So.
Any other questions?
Why do you think you have some questions? Obviously, we're at the forefront of data research. We've got 900 million data points collected, 7 million rounds tracked, some of them from these 2 great clubs, but we've got a really broad sense of what's possible and how courses run, and also within certain climates and within certain setups. So we are looking to innovate where we can. So one of the things that we've just brought to marketing, you can check it out at our booth if you like, is a system called Fast Lane Golf, where we are providing a special treatment to the dedicated players that want to play quickly. Because again, like I said earlier, the average time is not right for everyone. You've got dedicated players that want to do this faster, and it's worth something to them. It's even worth a premium, according to USGA research. 60% of players are willing to pay more, and especially younger players are time-starved. I'm 40 years old, I've got 2 little